What's going on, y'all? It's Jason Reviews here, back at it again with another video. As promised, you know what I'm saying, I'm bringing you guys the top 5 performers recap from the Stay Forever event. Quick before we get into it, and this isn't going to be the most bar for bar breakdown type of thing, because overall this event means more than just who won battles. Really, that becomes minute in the long run. But what an incredible event for an incredible cause. I just want to say, really proud of the community. I believe it was $140,000 raised off of the pay-per-views for Pat. That might have been a total, not counting in the building, but either way, over 100K for a Lost Legends family. You know what I'm saying? I think that everyone understood what had to be done here. People all across buying all types of pay-per-views for it and just supporting. While some of these battles are really fire, some of them are good back and forth, some of them low-key turned out to be body bags. I just want to say I appreciate every MC that had a part of this card, battling for free, many traveling very far, you know what I'm saying, to get to Toronto, preparing for tough opponents for the most part. And overall, everyone just came together to make this a special event. See Smack and Beasley there. The surprise battles that, you know what I'm saying, we'll definitely quickly go over, but just overall, incredible event. And before we talk about the top 5 performers, no top 3 impressive, disappointing, because I'm not disappointed in anyone that participated in this card, just purely for participating during it, and all the performances for the most part were clean. But before we get into the top 5, let's go over some of the battles and give the flowers to these battlers that aren't mentioned up there. First, I want to go over the surprise battles. First one to mention is Holohan versus Diz, which everyone knew going in that, you know, these are people that we wanted to see a part of this card in some way. Figured that they just couldn't make it one way or another. But to see them get brought out as a surprise is dope. The energy, the moment at the end of the group hug between Organic, Holohan, and Diz, it just means a lot. You know what I'm saying? If you understand the King of the Dot history and plus the moment, the emotions behind it, to me, that was damn near the highlight moment of either day. Just that. Those were the wholesome moments, you know, this event was brought together for. And the pop cheering for Pat's wife, thought that was so dope, man. Just goes to show how great the energy was in that building. But also want to praise King of the Dot. Something they do, a lot of other companies I feel like don't in battle rap, is just they've had a lot of different surprise battles. They could have promoted crazy, but they'll bring out like a mega match surprise battle just for the sake of having that in the moment pop, you know, that kind of moment. You know, Holohan versus Disney is an example of that. Jin and Ilmac, which we're going to talk about here in a second. And even going back to Blackout 4, Clips and Con, Hollow and Diz and Massacre, all types of different stuff, man, where they just they're more focused on the moment of it more than anything, and I think it created a beautiful moment. The timeless bar, the difference between going unlimited and being timeless by Holohan, super moment. Diz obviously got in his bag, you know, to the nth degree of. If you love what Diz does, I thought that even on the one leg, shout out to him performing on one leg, just goes to show what people gave for this card. I thought that was dope. I thought Ilmac and Jin was also a super duper moment. We're going to talk about Hollow's performance in particular versus Sharon as we hit the top 5. A little spoiler there. But for them to then bring out Jin and Ilmac, and at the same time, Easy and Hitman was going on. So when you combine Easy, Hitman, Sharon, Hollow, and then Jin and Ilmac, yes, rap grid crash, but I think I can understand a little bit of why they did. But an incredible moment, the crooked eye to a slanted one by Jin. We saw Jin rap. It's insane. Definitely very similar to Holohan and Diz. Just dope. It was just dope to see the two legends go at it. All the material. You don't focus as much on the win, but just each one of them was, for the most part, able to give a quotable or two, and they were rapping well as tributing to Pat. And then as you get into the 3-rounders that didn't make the list, XQZ versus Pathogenic, you know, dope little starter for the card. Joey Gambello versus Poe Rich. I thought Joey was kind of getting different on Poe Rich, but another one of those that I just feel like all of that fits the criteria for these King of the Dot cards so well. A lot of people aren't tapped into what Joey Gambello. I think that if more people would just simply be able to watch Joey, I think there would be a lot more fans of him. Extremely underrated rapper that has the ability to not just rap well, punch well, has a little bit of street talk in there, does a little bit of everything, man. So glad to see that he got some exposure. Saw a lot of people praising his performance. For me, it's like kind of just outside of that 5 region. But shout out to Paul Rich showing up too. Saint versus Franchise. Dope, you know what I'm saying, change of pace, the more, you know, gun bar, head-to-head type of style, what some people would consider more of that URL-esque style. Had Franchise taking that pretty clear. Thought Saint was good. The second, you know what I'm saying, choking the second hurt him. Franchise definitely showed out. But once again, everyone was at least decent on this card for the most part. Thesaurus versus Kid Twist and Roan versus Dumbfounded are both historical matchups that it's like to have that in 2023 is crazy. And I think both of them turned out fun. Are they the most sound, bar for bar, up to date battle? Nah, but especially for the situation this was, you get the funny, kid twist joking on Thesaurus. You get Thesaurus's multis. You get the Ronin dumbfounded. It's jokes going every way. What did Ronin say? I'll put the Yellow Ranger on a ventilator. All types of that. But if that's the style that you love, man, definitely delivered there. And plus the Pat tributes and all those thirds, especially the Rowan's Pat tribute, I thought was really, really, really dope. So it's just dope to see with all the different tributes. And you have to take into account that although a lot of these guys, we already thought they weren't going to battle again, this is definitely definitively the last battle for a lot of legends. I know Kid Twist said he won't be battling again, which was kind of a given. I know that Ronin dumbfounded, hard to believe that we'll be seeing them again, which is why it's even crazier, off rip that they were announced immediately and wanted to do this. A few Jin, I mean, Ilmac hasn't battled in a long time either, but Jin already said he's disappearing for 15 years. Probably not Holohan. So for those of you that love the KOTD history stuff, this is just one of those really, really cool callbacks. And outside of that, I thought Saga was great versus Arcane. Similar to Joey, two people that are kind of like my honorable mention performers of the night are Saga and Joey Gambello. I thought that he really got it Arcane, Shout out to Arcane. Controversial kind of figure, when you look in history, but for him to come back and battle. And I thought Saga's third was really dope, the callback to Pat. A lot of third round callbacks to Pat, as it should be. But he had an incredible performance. What would the GOAT do? Smoke you. So... dope stuff. And overall, yeah, the one last battle I wanted to mention, and kind of in this region, giving flowers to the people that didn't make the top 5, is the compliment battle between Myverse and KCJ. Purely because, in the spirit of Pat, compliments, positivity, both ladies look great and rapped great at that. Specifically, Myverse is always going to really excel in that kind of, comedic compliment situation. But I believe that is kind of my full roundup of everyone that I'm not going to specifically say is the best performers. Shout out to everybody here, man. I know it's a little lighter on the bar for bar side, but this card, like I said from the beginning, isn't all about the bar for bar. It's not all about that. It's about kind of just the wholesomeness of everyone coming together. No matter what performances went on out here, if they were all just solid or okay, the fact that it was all done for free, all these battlers together for free, could not, one of the crazier things I've just seen happen in battle rap. So I'm a little, to this point, proud and a little starstruck by it. But with all that given, all those props given to the battlers, we can now get into the top 5 performers of the Stay Forever card. So at the number 5 position, I actually have kind of a 5A, 5B here, a battle that I was super looking forward to in this card anyways and talked about, and that is Mad Flex versus Mike P. One that I knew just rapping-wise was going to be special. I thought even though a lot of these battles you're not really looking to be like these extremely, competitive kind of career where they rank, I thought Mad Flex versus Mike P is kind of one of those dream matches that I didn't know would happen. The Stay Forever card is the perfect one to bring it together, and they did not disappoint whatsoever, especially from the pure rapping standpoint, the pen standpoint that they both are kind of severely underrated in. When you look at structure, there's people that might say more creative, one-off bars and things of that nature. But just in terms of actually how sound their rounds are usually structured, the matchup just made sense. And just to describe this battle, clear, it was a 1-1, extremely contested, extremely well rapping, and then even the third becomes a bit of a toss-up, so you get that extremely contestedness we wanted from every round. Mad Flex obviously doesn't do the obvious angle, as we probably weren't expecting from him, but I thought that he was dope either way. He obviously touches a lot on the Geechee Gotti Mike battle. They made a sequel to Body. Just go and Google Mike P versus Geechee Gotti. Definitely funny. I also thought in the first round, even though the angle about Mike's time, right, is a great round. I don't know how much you can really put that down, but I thought there was comedy to it. And the golf, you win by playing less, like that flip. And I love what Mike did too, from first round to third, all the different pockets that he hit. We know it, when Mike really gets in his bag and doesn't put a ceiling on just that pure rapping, going right at it, what he can do with internals and externals. He's a very, very special performer. For the battle itself, in terms of deciding it, I think it's fairly debatable. I personally have Mad Flex 2-1. Just thought his angles and approaches were a little better, a little more direct, and wrote a little more thoroughly. But either way, battle's so close and met up to the expectations, and that is why it makes the number 5 spot for me. And moving right along to the number 4 spot, someone who had a lot of problems getting in, but did manage, persevere, had some issues in Buffalo, and got into Toronto, and that is Real Deal, who battled Loso. By the way, Loso did have a solid performance. Don't take him not being on the top 5 or being mentioned before as like a bad thing. It's just some battlers, even if they didn't make the top 5, I'm going to talk about their battle. So, we're going to talk about them later. But as for Real Deal here, great battle. Thought he started off on fire, damn near, took the first clear in my opinion, and this was against a pretty solid Loso. Wasn't like the craziest Loso I've ever seen, but definitely a formidable Loso at that. But I just really liked what Real Deal had. He had the little multis, the get smacked up like ladies night with Dana White in the first round. I think the first, even though a lot of people gave it to Deal super clear, I didn't think it was like the clearest round, but I did comfortably give him the first. And as you get into the second, I think this is like the closest round of the battle. I love the drug deal like Narcos by Loso. A couple different bars that he had in there. I thought that's what you can clearly tell he flexed his pen the most. But even Real Deal second, I like the slamming. He talked about Loso being a drug addict, which is, I don't believe that. But in Tampa, slamming tablets like Tom Brady, creative line. Butterfly to his mouth like Silence of the Lambs. I really, really, really like that. And he just didn't take that. Like I said, with this one, bounced between too many pay-per-views. It was hard to take all the notes that I wanted to, but he did have one more haymaker in that second, and that was the one that ended up having me give Real Deal the second, although that Silence of the Butterfly of the Mouth like Silence of the Lambs is crazy. And the third round is extremely debatable at that, so and it's going to sound kind of crazy. I did give Real Deal the third, so on paper I do have him 3-0. I thought that Loso, once again, as we talked about all these battlers, Pat Stay tribute in the third was really dope. And Real Deal takes the big pharma approach, which, Justice for Charlie. Obviously, he's been pushing that, going for that big issue that we have in the world. So the big pharma angle was dope. Couple more multis. I just thought you get a really complete Real Deal performance. You get the angling you want from him. You get some of those punches and stuff like that. Like I said, the Silence and the Lambs bar that I like. One of the more creative bars on either day of the card, in my opinion. And you get the great pure rapping. Solid outing by Loso, but I thought Real Deal really looked like someone that gave damn near his all for this type of performance. Loved his 3 rounds, and for that's why I have him as the number 4 performer on the card. And that brings us to the final 3. At number 3, and very similar to Mike and Flex, another big matchup I was looking forward to. We have Hollow versus Sharon, but at number 3, we have Hollow's performance versus Sharon. I thought Sharon was solid all around, but Hollow in this battle he was just in his element. And if nothing else, the freestyle round really shows you that. Where I thought he kind of got Sharon there pretty clearly at that. I don't think Hollow has been the overall dominant freestyler that he was in years past when he was easily considered the best. But I thought this round was really a glimpse of that. Pretty seamless freeze. Something that's always been big about the way that he freestyles is they sound like writtens. But at that, thought he might have walked him a little bit in those first 3. Solid Sharon, don't get me wrong by any means, especially for a performance like this, but very similar to Real Deal. It just looked like Hollow was so charged up for it. From first round to third, just really liked what he did. There's really nothing more to be said than that, and then specifically when you get to the freestyle round, I feel like he shows that separation, and for that to then switch right into Jin Ilmac, with him to pull out Ilmac and Sharon to pull out Jin, it's just that cornucopia moment. I mean, 4 legends being involved and like a shift out to the next battle. And for him to kind of clearly beat Sharon at that, I think it's one of those things that right now we're not focusing on what that accolade means on paper. Because, it's for Pat. But as we go on, he's got a real goodie with Ill Will early to start the year, right? Extremely debatable. And then over here, I kind of got him getting Sharon. So we're going to see how that ages depending on what plate he takes through the rest of 2023. Hollow Cody, I don't know. I'm just saying, not that he's going to be front runner for anything of that nature, but to see a god tier outside to this amount, it's just really, really cool to see, and I want to give Hollow his props here at the number 3 spot. And as we get into the top 2, at number 2, we have a duo, you know what I'm saying? We have Real Sick and Lou Castro. Heavy emphasis on Real Sick. I predicted this, as many did, as a pretty clear, Clips and DNA, we're going to come get him out of here, better chemistry. But man, Sick and Lou took this as crazy serious, and to think this was going to be Sick and Nitty originally is even crazier. I don't know what the writing would have looked like on that. It would have been extraterrestrial. It would have been absurd. But I thought Lou did complement Sick well. The energy in there, the performance definitely gives the performance momentum. But in terms of the actual quotables and bars that were picked out, I thought Sick was on a roll up there. The DNA leave a generational gap. That was crazy all throughout, especially, was it the ISO in the, I think he ISO'd in the third before the Pat tribute, another great Pat tribute by Sick, telling him all the things Pat did for him behind the scenes personally. So fucking dope. But as expected, Real Sick's style is like amazing on King of the Dot. Not just the multisyllabic and the structure to writing, which I feel like King of the Dot always appreciates. Not just rapping ability, but actual round structure and like really condensing it properly. Not really having just silly connector bars that don't make that much sense out loud in English. Really structured all the way through. And to me, you could damn near say Sick himself was right there as performer of the card. No disrespect to Lou, because Lou was good, but I just thought in this 2-on-2, a kind of a shocking upset that you really get another top tier flash from Sick, which he usually gives. And it's funny, you hear Clips freestyling, it's a charity battle, don't take it so serious. Really funny. I thought DNA and Clips were cool, but clearly didn't prepare to the level of a Sick, where he's giving some of his better material that we've heard in a little bit of time. So Sick and Lou, got to give them credit. They were predicted to lose very, very clearly and were one of the standouts of the card, and that's why I have them as the runner-up. And that gets us into the number one performer of the card. And to this one, to me, was very, very easy because he had the best performance of his career up to this point, in my opinion. And that was Frack's performance versus Solcon. And shout out to Solcon once again, the legend stepped out versus, following the Diz battle a while back that really didn't work out good for him. He stepped out versus Ward, got really good reception on iBattle. And I thought he got really good reception in this battle. I just think that there's just a structured thing with Solcon. Who knows, maybe it's the last time he battles, maybe it's not, but I just think that kind of yelling and joke-only style, you need to have a little bit more soundness to it, and Frack kind of looks like Solcon, but like the new model. Like just way more structure, still with that jokey style, you know what I'm saying? Both of them with tons of Jewish jokes going back and forth, which is no surprise. But then on top of that, he is a killer angler. I think he uses comedy, but uses it to have hard-hitting punches at that. To split soul 7 ways like a Horcrux. Like, not only does he have all the elements that people love of, like, maybe the jokier rap and things of that nature, but he turns around and he's just a very, very good battler. I would almost say underrated. He's kind of in that, like, cheat code area where people talk about him. They don't talk about him like the serious ranks, but Frack could take out a lot of guys, top tier, mid tier. I just think Frack is a very good battle rapper. Not good on a curve, not good as a gimmick. He's very good at what he does. And for him to give the best performance of his career on the Pat Stay card at that, it's a big moment. It's the right time to give a performance like this. And boy, it's just a good-ass performance. So 3-0, you know what I'm saying, kind of cleaned up Solcon, but not to focus on what Solcon didn't do good, but really want to focus on what Frack did do good. And I hope in 2023 he gets just some bigger looks. I don't care what league it's on. It just seems like it's like watching Sharon. People are like, oh, it's just a gimmick. Then he was a smack killer out of nowhere. There's a lot of guys out here that are really good that I'm not sure I would have beating Frack in a battle. So I just want to give a shout out to Frack on a career high performance, and in my opinion, being the standout performer for the Stay Forever card. And that is going to do it for the recap here, guys. Let me know down below, what's your favorite performance, or just one of your favorite performances from the Stay Forever card? Like I said, it's hard on a 2-day card to give like a proper review without it being like 50 minutes, because there was just so many people that did good for the most part. I think I named like 10, 11 different names that did good. Even the people who lost for the most part. There's no just choking, getting slashed, and just you were horrible. I think Saint's second might have been the only choke I can think of off the top of my head. And even he was good in that battle that I had him losing. So overall, man, everyone here understood the assignment for the card and did what they were supposed to do. For all of you that haven't copped, even if you're just copping the VOD, if they have that, go cop the Stay Forever VOD, man. The support was overwhelming, you know what I'm saying? And for those of you that have seen it, thought it was a great event, you combine that with Chrome, and I think this is one of the more fun weekends of battle rap that we've had in a really long time. But one more time, long live Pat Stay. It just goes to show his greatness and energy inspires other greats, other mid-tiers, other up-and-comers. And the fact that in one man's name we can get this many names on one card, it just goes to show how much he meant to this community. But it's been J Smo Reviews again, y'all. Rip Pat Stay, and God bless his family. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace.